Hello teachers, I'm Mark Richard from Oxford University Press, and I will tell you what you need to know to teach Learn English with Dora the Explorer in your classroom. Every unit of Learn English with Dora the Explorer has 8 lessons. In this video, we will look at Lesson 4. Lesson 4 is called Language Practice. Your lesson objectives are: practice the new language structure, which is "this is my mommy" or "this is my daddy" in our example unit. You're going to review the unit vocabulary, mommy, daddy, brother, sister in this case. Practice listening skills. Develop fine motor skills with a pen to paper activity. In this case it's tracing and matching. And develop visual perceptual skills. In Learn English with Dora the Explorer, every lesson follows this simple pattern. As you and the students get used to the pattern, you'll soon find that your classes become quicker to prepare and easier to manage. As I've mentioned in previous videos, the Teacher's Guide will always give you great warm-up suggestions. First, there will be the unit hello routine, and after that the lesson notes will give you a quick activity to review the new language from previous lessons. After the warm-up comes the main section of each lesson. In Lesson 4, there is one activity in the student book. Let's take a look. Here it is. In the student book in Lesson 4, students will keep working with the language that was presented to them in the song in Lesson 3. Students will do an activity that reviews the language structure and the unit vocabulary. So the activity will also develop children's visual perceptual skills. Here you see they match relatives who have similar appearances. And this matching activity also develops students' fine motor skills. Look at the shapes of the lines that students use to match the relatives. Okay, this is very early stage practice in learning how to write English letters. Children in this lesson will also practice their listening skills by using the audio to help them complete the activities. So let's see how to teach this activity. For every lesson, the Teacher's Guide tells you what to do in clear steps. So let's take a look at the steps for this lesson. 1. The teacher points to the pictures on the left. And for each of these pictures asks the students, girl or boy? And here the students would say girl, girl or boy, and so on. Next, the teacher plays the audio and students will hear the unit language. For example, this is my mommy, this is my daddy, and so on. So what you can do is pause after students hear a line and you lead the children in tracing the line from the girl here on the left to her mommy on the right. Okay, and then students copy you with their fingers. And when you get to the end, the teacher says, "This is my mommy," and students repeat, "This is my mommy." And then you move down to the next picture. Trace the line with your finger and then say, "This is my sister. This is my sister," and so on. And you would repeat with all of the rows. Then step 4. Play the audio again. Now this time children listen, but they trace the lines with their pencils. So they've practiced with their fingers first, so they'll get it right with their pencils. And the teacher at this stage walks around and checks everyone is holding their pen or pencil correctly. When you've finished, the teacher can point to the picture at the top right and say, "This is my," and students will supply that word, "mommy." "This is my sister," and so on. Okay, and you repeat that till you get to the bottom of the page. So you see here that children, they're not just kind of drawing lines, they're listening to the language and they're repeating the language too. And as in previous videos, I've shown you that a secret for teaching young children is to break down a task like this into lots of smaller steps so that students can follow and they have a clear single purpose each time. And your students this way will all feel comfortable and happy and confident because they are sure that they understand what you, the teacher, wants them to do. In Lesson 3, students listen to audio tracks. Make sure your students are paying attention before you play the track. So here's a simple teaching tip to increase your students' engagement in listening tasks. First, ask your students to predict what they are going to hear before you play the audio. So if students look at this line, you can help them. This is my, well, what will you hear? Some students will guess, Mommy, this is my mommy. And then don't tell them if they're right or wrong, but just play the audio track and ask students to tell you, oh, were you right? Did you hear, this is my mommy? And that's going to get your students' attention, because if they've really tried to think about what language this picture represents and they guess, they'll really want to listen closely to see if they got it right. So that's how to get your students all paying attention and engaging in listening to audio tracks. Now we've finished the student book activity. At this stage, the teacher's guide will always give you another optional activity to practice the unit vocabulary if you want to do that some more before moving on to the activity book. So please look out for that. But for now, let's move on to the activity book. In Lesson 4, the activity book reviews the new language with a pen-to-paper activity, in this case, matching and colouring, that prompts students to practice saying the new structure. So let's see how you can teach this activity in your classroom. The activity book's pictures and activities are designed to prompt students to say the new language structure. In this unit, it's this is my mommy, this is my daddy, and so on. So what can the teacher do to bring this language off the page and get students to practice it? So here's what you would do for our example lesson. So 1, focus your students' attention on the page and explain the context. The big picture shows the girl's family, and then the little pictures each show a different member in the family. Then ask your students to say who and what they see in the big picture. And your students might say things like tree, but the unit vocabulary will be brother, sister, mommy, daddy. Third, the teacher points to the small picture of sister and says, this is my sister. Now, as a teacher, you use your finger to trace a line from the small picture of sister to sister in the big picture. Prompt your students to do the same in their books using their fingers, and then say, this is my sister. And then you repeat that with other family members. Okay, so with their fingers, you'll be saying, this is my daddy, and so on. Once you've done that with the fingers for all family members, do it again, but this time students use a pencil to trace the line. And they're still repeating, this is my daddy, this is my brother, and so on. Step 6, ask the children to colour the small pictures so that they look the same as the people in the big picture. So here students are really associating the two pictures. This is visual perceptual skills. And when your students have finished colouring in those small pictures, ask a volunteer student to pretend to be the girl in the picture. And your volunteer student can point to each person and say, this is my sister, this is my brother, this is my mommy, this is my daddy, and so on. Okay, so let's recap. What have your students developed by doing this activity? Well, many things. They've matched pictures in the scene to a related, isolated picture, and that requires visual perceptual skills. They have also drawn lines to match the pairs of pictures. That requires fine motor skills. But of course, through it all, Dora is a language course, an English language course, so students have kept hearing and kept saying the target sentence structure with the unit vocabulary. Now this mixing of other skills, visual perceptual skills, fine motor skills, together with language skills is a key fundamental approach of Dora the Explorer, and it's called teaching the whole child or whole child development, where you teach language alongside developing other skills. As this quote from the Teacher's Guide makes clear, Dora the Explorer teaches the whole child by developing the different skills that are emerging in children of this age in addition to language. And if you want to find out more about the methodology behind the course, please look at the first few pages in the Teacher's Guide to get that in more depth. When you've finished the activity book activity, do remember to look in the Teacher's Guide because there'll be an optional activity there for you. In this particular lesson, the optional activity tells you how to apply this unit's language structure, "This is my mommy," to vocabulary from previous units so that students can say, "This is my book," "This is my lunchbox," and so on. And of course, the lesson notes will give you the unit goodbye routine for you to close out your lesson with a Dora goodbye song and dance. So well done! We've completed lesson 4 from a unit of Learn English with Dora the Explorer. As Dora would say, to encourage the students, we did it. And remember, we didn't just get through the lesson, we achieved our lesson objectives. Doesn't that feel good? Good job, teacher. As a teacher, you'll know that students learn better when their parents support your efforts. Dora the Explorer gives you an easy way to manage your relationship with parents and get them working with you to build their children's English confidence. So we provide lots of support for parents. There are letters to parents, a parent's guide which contains fun, home learning activities that parents can do with their children even if the parents don't have great English themselves. Children can share projects they've done at school, and there's lots more advice to help parents to see what their children are learning with you so that they can feel confident in their child's progress in your lessons. Let's start by looking in more detail at the Parent's Guide. So I think parents will be able to see much more easily the language structure and vocabulary that their children are learning from Dora the Explorer and from you. It's all here. In lessons 3 and 4, your child learnt the following: language, family vocabulary. Next, parents can try out these simple home study activities and extra practice suggestions with their children. Many parents really want to help their children to learn English better, but they're not sure what to do. So these parents will appreciate the concise and practical advice in the Parent's Guide. And parents don't need to speak much English to help their children improve. Finally, the Parent's Guide will tell parents in simple terms what their child can do because of your lessons. For example, what they can say, or maybe what song they can sing. So the parents, even if they speak no English, can ask their child to sing the song they've learned that week. And nothing makes parents happier than seeing and hearing their children using English. Children can share projects they've made at school. Parents can encourage children to sing and also act out songs from the lessons. So please find out more about Dora's resources for parents by reading the component overview section of the Teacher's Guide, or visit the website and click on the Parents Resources tab. Thank you for watching this video for Lesson 4 of Learn English with Dora the Explorer. Please take a look at our videos to help you teach other lessons in a unit. Thank you for watching this video until the end, and enjoy your teaching.
We did it! We did